Good morning, guys. In this moment, I will start presenting the specific contents for answering the phase 4 from instruimos, okay? Here, you can use this video to take some notes, so I'm gonna start sharing my screen and let's go. Good. Here we go. And let's start with the perfect future, guys, okay? What do we do when we talk about the perfect future? We are talking about activities that we will have done at a determined moment in the future, okay? And here you can observe some structures. Generally, when we talk about the perfect future or the future perfect, we normally use the subject, the will have, the past participle as usual in all perfect times. And depending on the purpose, you will start organizing the information, whether affirmative, negative, interrogative, or negative interrogative, okay? In here, we can observe the structures depending on our purpose and the specific ideas that we want to transmit. The functions, we are talking about actions that will be finished in the future, okay? When we use this verbal time is because we are talking about a projection in the future. Yes, we are analyzing some issues that happen and we are trying to look for what is going to happen after that. In here we have some examples. I will have been here for 6 months on June the 23rd. Okay, look at, for example, there. Yo habré estado aquí por 6 meses el 23 de junio. So it is a projection that we have. By the time you read this, I will have left. And note that maybe a girlfriend is reporting to someone. You will have finished your report by this time next week. When they have arrived by 5 p.m., can you see the way in which we use interrogative, affirmative, and negative situations? That is exactly what we do when we talk about the perfect future, okay? Now, in the second topic, an interesting uh, idea regarding social networks, okay? First, take a look to the poster, and in here we have some vocabulary, a web page address, a website to register on, a browser to open and close a window, to surf the web, to search for an engine, a bookmark, F and Q, frequently asked questions. Can you see the abbreviation there? A home page, the link, the network, to download, to upload an application, to sign in, to sign out, to sign up, and to subscribe. Okay, and in here we have more vocabulary, the username, the password, the social network, the social media, the user, to share something, friend requests, privacy settings, a wall post, a status update, to add somebody as a friend, to block a blog spot, to start up, to shut down, to run, to save, to stop, to drag and drop. Take a look at it. To click, to store, to update, to and an update. When talking about emails, in here we have also some interesting vocabulary. We have the email address, the at, that is the arroba in English, dot, that is the period in English, to compose or to write when you're trying to create an email, to reply, to forward some information, the subject of the email, the recipient, that is the person that is going to receive it, the carbon copy, the blind carbon copy, to attach something, a file, that is what we send through the emails, the inbox, the spam, the root copy, the sent box, the outbox, the ongoing message, and the trash. That information is really important at the moment to create emails, okay? Interesting vocabulary there. To now move to the world problems. All right, in here we have some vocabulary about problems presented in today's life. We have the war, inequality, inequity, migration, global issues, environment, international laws, migratory crisis, technological gap, environmental crisis, civil war, economic gap, pandemic, health crisis, racism, terrorism, global warming, climate change, plastic islands, as the one in the picture, surprising, war on drugs, economic crisis, and social and civil unrest. Okay, important vocabulary required at the moment to express our ideas, guys. Okay, now one of the topics worked during classes, making reference to the conditional number 3. Okay, remember that when we talk about the conditional number 1, we are talking about real and scientific issues that can be easily observable. When we talk about the first conditional, we are talking about present situations and possible prescriptions for the future considering the current issues. When we talk about the second and the third conditional, it is there when we move to the hypothetical situations. Okay, in number second or the second conditional, we are talking about hypothetical issues expressed with a past situation and a hypothetical possible result. Now, when we talk about the third conditional, we are talking about impossible situations to change because basically they will never happen or they are already in a determined way. Okay, if you take a look to those examples, we can observe there. If you studied hard, you wouldn't have passed the exam. If you hadn't been sick, I would have gone to your party. Can you see? We're talking about impossible situations to happen. I already presented a summary about conditional zero, which are scientific facts. For example, if I work too much, I get tired. If I study hard, I pass the year. Real and current situations. Now, when we talk about the conditional number 1, we are making reference about situations in the present and possible results in the future. Examples there. If he's busy now, I will come back tomorrow, okay? If there is a situation taking place, okay, let's look for a possible result. As I just mentioned before, when we talk about the conditional 2, we are talking about situations that started in the past and not started in the past, which are hypothetical situations that maybe take us to the hypothesis of some ideas. If I were in Brazil, I would go to Rio de Janeiro. If I were you, but it's impossible for you to be me, so we are talking about issues that are not possibly happening at the moment. Okay, and now when we move to the conditional number 3, we are making reference about impossible and hypothetical issues. Example, if I had known the answer, I would have raised my hand. Si yo hubiera sabido la respuesta, yo hubiera alzado la mano. As we can observe there, the intention is to make reference to a situation that first of all is in the past or is an imaginary situation that cannot be changed and probably will never happen. Okay, if she had come on Saturday, I would have seen her. If they had left earlier, they would have arrived on time. Okay, good, guys. In there, we have the explanation about the conditional. Let's take a look to the cause and effect connectors. Okay, guys, connectors are really useful in English and all languages because they give us the possibility to connect our thoughts. Okay, they are words that help us link different ideas with one single purpose. Okay, now if we are talking about situations that are completely opposed to the others, we use contrast connectors of contrast. If our intention is to add some more information to something that we have been talking about, in that case, we use the connectors of addition. When we talk about the causes of something that take us to a possible result, we use connectors of cause. And finally, if our intention is to be is to present the consequence of the result of something, we use the connectors of consequence. Okay, in here we have some examples. Because of, and for means porque. In that case, we are presenting an explanation about something. Okay, when we talk about the consequence, we can use since or as. When we're talking about the result for something that we have been talking, we can say in order to, por tal motivo, de tal forma, right? And finally, if we're talking about the consequence, in there we can use due to or outgoing. Okay, I prefer the beach than the mountain because I love swimming, right? Explanations. I prefer the pool since I saw a shark at the beach. Okay, so in that case, you're talking about preferences regarding places. We took the train in order to arrive as soon as possible to the beach. Can you see? And finally, I arrived late to the beach due to the bad traffic. Okay, consequence of something. In those cases, the transitional words or the connectors become with a really, really, really important fact over there. Okay, let me continue now with the adverbs and intensifiers. Okay, they are important when we want to emphasize on the use of something. In here, an adverb is a chapter of the sentence that has the intention to modify the meaning of the verb, of the adverb, or another adverb. Attention in here. The teacher speaks slowly, so can you see how we emphasize in the use of these adverbs to make reference to some issues? Okay, we have different classes of adverbs. The first one is adverbs of manner. Okay, for example, in here we have easily, difficulty, carefully, right, to talk about how things are to be done. We have some other examples when talking about adverbs of place. Around the place, far from this place, near this place, there in that place, here in this place. Okay, in the same way, we have some adverbs of time. Again, at first, before, soon, late. Those are references of time when a situation could be completed. Okay. After that, we have some adverbs of frequency. When talking about adverbs of frequency, is about the amount of times you develop a determined action. We are making reference here to always, frequently, never, and sometimes. When we talk about quantity, little, much, very, too. In this case, we gotta analyze if we are talking about countable or uncountable adverbs of frequency and quantity in order to realize those things. We have adverbs of interrogation, interrogative adverbs. Where, when, what, why, who, how. Yes, when we want to get some specific info about some issues. We have also relative adverbs. When, where, why. Okay, ordinal numbers, firstly, secondly, thirdly, the most important reasons in here. Okay, as you can observe, there are many groups of adverbs. We have also adverbs of degree, completely, partially, extremely, greatly. Okay, in the same way we talk about probability, depending on the on how probable is an issue for happening. Maybe, perhaps, possibly, probably. Look at it, many of them. We have also adverbs of affirmation when we talk about certainly, naturally, of course, surely, or when we talk about negative issues. No, never, not at all. Okay, all of them have different purposes. Yes, when we talk about intensifiers, we're talking about how deep is the force an object or a person is generating over something. Here we have very, really, extremely, amazingly, exceptionally, incredibly, remarkably, particularly, and enough. We also have some examples. Kate is really beautiful. Can you see that our intention there is to emphasize on something? The restaurant was remarkably empty for a Saturday. okay? And we also have some other examples. When we talk about the emphasis, yes, we want to make, we can use strong adjectives like enormous, terrible, tiny, brilliant, excellent, perfect, marvelous. Okay, so depending on our intention, we can start taking and using some of those adverbs. Examples: dangerously ill, dangerously fast, seriously injured, seriously damaged, highly successful, highly intelligent, bitterly disappointed, bitterly cold. Okay, so guys, as you can observe in here, depending on the intention, we are going to require some specific adverbs. Okay, we also have superlatives when we use easily, by far, and in here we have a couple of examples. Paul is by far the most intelligent person I know. Her essay was easily the longest in the class. Okay, and we also have some mitigators when we talk about fairly, rather, quiet, pretty. We are talking about the emphasis we want to make about something. Okay, um, we have some adjectives that become comparatives, and we use some of the next words in order to help them as mitigators. Okay, Dave is a bit faster than me. My brother is slightly taller than my father. Okay, so in there, guys, we can observe how things are, and we can observe the importance of those adverbs and intensifiers. Okay, finally, we will move on to the argumentative essays. Okay, as I mentioned in the answer sheet, when we talk about the argumentative essay, is because we are making reference to how the author or the person that is creating the argument uh, tries to persuade the person to think or to understand a topic in a particular way. Okay, in that sense, we have authority arguments, yes, because in here we use experts' position and possible researches that reinforce our position. Okay, arguments of cause and effect, when we present some reasons and some background in order to inform our position. For example, in news reports, where there is try to explain a problem, the beginning of the problem and how it has evolved. In those cases, we use this kind of arguments in order to understand the origin and, of course, the impact the problem is having in society. Okay, we also have affective arguments. Yep, in here, the person is the one that tries to awake different feelings in his arguments. All this with the intention to make some particular expressions of the ideas we have, to present some public events, and of course to have arguments to reinforce our position. Finally, talking about arguments from personal experiences. When you are the author, you want to make an emphasis on a particular perception on an issue, you can talk about your personal experiences in order to show the wide side of your position and why do you think in that way. In here we have an example that says malaria. Malaria is an infectious disease caused by parasites that are transmitted to people through female Anopheles mosquitoes. Each year, over 500 million people will become infected with malaria, with roughly 80% of them living in sub-Saharan Africa. Nearly 500,000 people die of malaria every year, most of them young children under the age of 5. Unlike many other infectious diseases, the death toll for malaria is rising. While there have been many programs designed to improve access to malaria treatment, the best way to reduce the impact of malaria in sub-Saharan Africa is to focus on reducing the number of people who contract the disease in the first place, rather than waiting to treat the disease after the person is already infected. As we can observe here, they are talking about a particular issue. They take a particular place talking about this position in the sub-Saharan Africa and how it affects people. As you can observe there, guys, the intention with the argumentative essay is to inform about the position regarding a specific topic, okay? Now you can move to the questions and the answers, guys, in order to discuss if this acquisition of knowledge has been well done. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording in here and